I warn everybody. I welcome you to the series of lectures conducted by the International Relations Unit of the Open University of Sri Lanka in collaboration with the Center for Education, Technology and Media. This is a series. This is the series of lectures that we have been conducting from 2017, and today we have invited Mr. Mohammad Fakhrul Islam Patwari from the Open University of Bangladesh, and he is assistant professor, and he will be delivering the talk on the quest for functional strategies in online teaching and policy approach. And let me introduce Mr. Fakhrul briefly. So he is an assistant professor of political science in Bangladesh Open University. And Fakhrul completed his postgraduate and the graduate studies in University of Dhaka. And he obtained his Bachelor of Social Sciences in Political Sciences and Masters in Social Sciences for his educational background. He has been involved with teaching and research for more than half a decade in several Bangladeshi universities. He is a policy researcher of Korean Development Institute, School of Public Policy and Management. His focus is on online education policy. Fakhrul received International Visiting Scholar Fellowship in 2018 to Shanghai Open University in China. So today, this month, he is visiting the Open University of Sri Lanka as a fellow of AAOU Inter-University Staff Exchange Program. So the AAOU fellowship is offered by the Open University of Sri Lanka to the fellows, to the academic staff of the member universities in the Asian Association of Open Universities. So I would like to invite Mr. Fakhrul Islam Patwari to conduct his lecture. So after your lecture, we will be inviting you for a discussion. So the floor is over to you.
Thank you so much, dear Prasad, and I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all the audience. And I'm really grateful and tremendously be honored to be here and also to participate in the lecture series. I would like to extend my thanks to the International Relations Unit of Open University of Sri Lanka, very especially from Bangladesh Open University. So let's introduce me briefly. I am Fakhrul Islam Patwari, and I am working as an assistant professor of political science in Bangladesh Open University. I have been working there in teaching as a teacher for more than half decades in about political science and also the public policy I'm teaching. I have received the AAOU Visiting Scholar Fellowship 2018 in China, and I'm also working KDI with the KDI School of Public Policy and Management in Korea. So my main focus is to the online education policy, and it has a long background. So before moving towards forward, I would like to tell about why I am focusing to the online education or open and distance education. So you might have heard about the writer Rokeya Sakawat Hossain. She is a harbinger of women's movement in Bangladesh and a forerunner of women's rights in Bangladesh. She wrote fictions and also the novels. One of the very important fiction written by her is Sultana's Dream. How she understood the dreams and ambitions of a girl and how Sultana wanted to flourish herself and to groom herself, and also would like to share her ideas with the globe. So she wanted many things, but could not actually achieve her dreams. So with the same name, I mean, my mother's name is Rokia, and also, I had also a friend named Sultana. So the friend I had, she wanted to be a doctor, but she could not be a doctor later on because she had to marry at the age of 16. And the early marriage is regular phenomenon in some South Asian nations, and also happen regularly in Bangladesh. So she had to marry because of her safety and so-called security. So she could not complete her education. So that was the agony of her life, and I closely observed, and I had nothing to do for her. Another story that I had encountered in my childhood, my reading room was in the southeast corner of my residence, and my grandmother, she regularly cleaned my books and bookshelf, and also my reading room furnitures. That I was just closely observing that why she did have such affection to my books and utensils. Then I could realize that she could not continue her education because in that time the socio-cultural background of Bangladesh was such that female education was a bit restricted for for the females in a certain age, and also that the fate was followed by my mother, and she wanted to teach me, but could not teach me continually because she also had to follow the socio-cultural due to the socio-cultural backgrounds of Bangladesh. She could not continue her education. So I was just thinking around since my childhood that how the females can also continue their education even if they are born and brought up with socio-cultural underprivileged backgrounds. And another story that I encountered, that my cousin, he had an accident, and he could not continue his education, and he was tremendously worried during his SSC and HSC examination. And when he wanted to continue his education, he faced lots of problems. So continuing education was a bit challenging for him. So I think that the online education or open and distance learning education could give them a solution for continuous education, and also female education, also for inclusive education, and which can be equitably distributive to all the citizens in a country, even if their inclusions, their safety and security can be ensured. So what actually we did when we faced for the first time the COVID-19, when it was evolved in March 2020, then entire education programs were closed with the calling from UNESCO. So the closure of schools, colleges, and universities, that was also a successful story. But we have to continue it again because all the people with the new circumstances, they had to have some trainings, had to continue their professions and jobs. In that case, for example, the nurses, the doctors, they had to continue their profession with the new phenomenon, and they had to serve the patients being distant and staying from home, and to some extent that they had to visit the hospitals and also give prescriptions to the patients. So including the doctors, nurses, everyone, I mean even the bankers and although some other professionals, they had to stay at home, but still they had to continue their profession jobs and had to continue their services. So for giving better services to to their respondents, they required some special trainings. So education is must, and that should be continued for long time in whole life for all the professionals. So I think that online teaching, which is a solution, that after closure of the school, colleges, and universities, how we reopened that we had no other options other than the online teaching. So we opened as online teaching. So what was the phenomenon before COVID-19, open distance learning management, and after when we encountered the first time the open and distance learning, became a bit different. So that what we can say, that was the open and distance, but during the COVID-19 season, we came into the online education. So the difference between the open and distance learning management before the COVID-19 and during the COVID-19 a bit different. Before COVID-19, the physical classroom also was happened, and with beside the physical classes, face-to-face education, we had the open and distance education. There the supervision was physical and also online, and the teachers could facilitate the students face-to-face in the classroom and also outside of the classroom. In online education, we can supervise our students. It is possible in online that we had in the face-to-face education, and referring to the resources, materials, visiting to the libraries. That was possible in the face-to-face session, since if we develop our OER resources, then it is also possible in online. So facilitating students. That's we understand that in higher education we understand that this is not like spoon feeding to the students, that everything would be given by the teacher, but also we facilitate our students and enable them to learn from the resources available. So in the online education, it is also possible to facilitate the students. And the objectives of academic discipline that can be what it was possible to ensure in the face-to-face education, and also be possible in the online education. So teaching presence. The teacher was present in the physical classroom. So it is also now possible, feasible and more interactive to some extent in the online classes. So teacher teaches both in the synchronous and asynchronous classes. So what about the social presence? The social presence was quite close in the physical classroom, but in the online teaching, the social presence is not required. So since in the before the COVID-19, like a small country, Bangladesh, and with over populated country with 180 million people. So the cities are overpopulated also, and also traffic congestion is a regular phenomenon. And in other countries in the South Asian region, we see that the university could be a bit distant, and if there is a singular open and distance university, then if the students live in the region, then it is really tough for the students to go to the physical classrooms. But in the online education system, since the social presence is not required, it is really very easy for the students to get access to the materials and get access to the classes, and also to find teachers in different ways that I will later discuss. So what we encountered the phenomenon during the COVID-19. you know, before COVID-19, we had the face-to-face education and also the online education. I mean, all sort of online education. But during the COVID-19, we have seen that we could really materialize the synchronous and asynchronous and hybrid sort of education. Like if the classes are recorded once and then can be played several times later on. So the asynchronous classes have become very popular during the COVID-19 situation, and also students could become very familiar with and also would like to continue their education and learning with the asynchronous learning management system within the options of online synchronous, asynchronous, and hybrid learning management system. So the first challenge we encounter to provide the students maximum facilities with the online education is to engage with the learners. It is really important to engage with the learners, that we have to leave our maximum efforts to engage with the students. Other than engaging with the students, the entire learning management system can be in halt and can remain unsuccessful. So to engage with the students, we have to interact with the students. We can get involved and get informed about the students. So we can adopt with some tools and technologies that are quite relevant to the engagement of the students. So if initially we take the information of the students, and if we take the entire profile of the classroom, like 30 students in the classroom. So if we know the students much well, then we can analyze and evaluate the students. What are their backgrounds, what they passed before, and what are their ages, and what are the gender and the demography all about, and what are their expectations. So lots of ways to understand that profile. You can take it from the admission division, taking the support from the administration, and also you can develop a site for your courses. So if you develop your site, then student can enroll on it. Student can answer some of the basic questions with their demographic information and also the expectations from the teacher. So this was a challenge before online class management system, that how to involve and interact with the students initially. And the second thing that that the challenge we encounter is to create a supportive and accommodative and comfortable learning management system for the students. So if we would like to make an environment for our learners to easily learn, and so that the students can be very much cozy with the environment, they would be quite prepared with the learning management, like systems and tools that differently we use. Different variety of tools should include, so that the engagement can be maximum. But that doesn't mean that we will introduce some tools to the students that students are quite unfamiliar with, and the tools are not handy with the students. So if we develop such tools, then the environment of the learning, that would be really tough for the students. So at the same time, we have to make the content accessible to the students, and how we would share our materials. Initially the role of teacher is to engage with the students, is fine, but in online learning management system, the teachers have diversified roles and responsibilities, from course development to class lecture delivery. So we have to develop the courses, develop the materials, and also have to share the materials with the students. So it is also important to focus on the learning materials that should be easily shared with the students, and students should get it very easily. They can enter to the resources very easily from any corner of the part, and also in an affordable way. So it is also very important for us to ensure the learning outcomes from the students. So what sort of learning outcomes that I would like to talk about, that uh, just if we think about the Bloom's taxonomy, then we'll see in Bloom's taxonomy there have been said that the first student should be familiarized with the stages, and also the teacher should focus on the remembering of the students when you are developing your course material and also delivering your lecture and you are sharing the information. So students should remember the knowledge and information, and also that students should understand the phenomenon, understand the learning materials that you are trying to introduce with the students. And students should students should be able to apply those knowledge you are sharing with the students, and they have to be able to analyze the knowledge, and they will be able to evaluate the information and the knowledge you are providing them. And then finally they have to be enabled with evaluating and creating new things, new knowledge. So in the final stage, students can determine widely and also can defend any phenomenon with creating new knowledge for them. So we have to focus on the learning outcomes, so that the students can be very, very familiar with. So in online education, it is important for the teachers to keep in mind that the learning management system, whether it is student oriented or teacher oriented or technology oriented, that should be student centered and student focused, student oriented. And the entire learning management courses and materials, the curriculum, entire the things should be easily illustratable and illustratable, and also that should be actionable, that should be future centric, and also developmental. Since the technology is the phenomenon of the 21st century with the fourth industrial revolution, we cannot think about other than the technology. So we are thinking about the students' future, since they will encounter the technology in their job field. So when they will be quite familiar with the technologies beforehand in their educational level, so it would be very easy for them to be skilled and efficient with the tools and technologies. So they can very easily manipulate and have the command on the technologies if they be focused with the technologies. So the entire online education should be student centric, and that should be development centric and also future centric. So the debate between the content and the technology is what should we keep emphasis on, whether it should be emphasis on the technology or that should be emphasis on the content. So the respondents are quite varied in terms of responses. They put to some extent emphasis on the technologies, since technology itself the thing to learn, and some people also respond with the content rather. So it is very important to determine by the teachers that what should be emphasized. So then I would like to share with you that in online teaching, the competency and the development, the competency that should be developed, the competency that should be developed through the digital instruction and also social interaction and also with the students engagement. So the learning outcomes, if we think about the competencies of the students, and also if we would like to collaborate the students with our teachings and research, then it is also important to be handy with the technologies and to be trained up with the technologies. So the learning management that should be problem solving. Student may raise the questions, and also they can come up with the problems that should be solved, and also the content might have some problems and that should be solved. So in online teaching learning management system, we can ensure the competency and also the collaborative work, and also we can solve the problems. So the engagement that I have talked about earlier, the engagement of the students in the classroom, you can use any sort of software. During this time we are widely using Zooms for our classrooms and video conferencing. So for the engagement of the students, we can use some other supportive tools in the Zoom. And also when we are engaging the students, we have to be clear about and be handy with the course objectives, and we should not be derailed from the class and curriculum objectives. And also the participation of the students that should be ensured from the pedagogical point of view. And when we will lead the students to the teamwork and collaborative work, then the engagement can be maximum. And always we can receive the feedbacks from the students, that what are their reactions and what are their questions about the class, and what are their ideas to relate the classes with their existing knowledge. And also they can be enabled with raising questions and also sharing the information. So these are the ways how students can engage with the classes. And also we have to experiment with the previous classes that what the teacher already taught in the classes, and also what the students could learn from the classes. And also if we give the students some assignments, and the teacher become involved with those assignments, and if the students are given some homeworks with critical thinking, it would be a very easier way to experiment the previous classes and existing courses. So experiment is very important. And encouragement to the students. It is very important, giving them the support, and also inspiring for better works. And also if the teachers timely respond to the students' questions, and when students in the online management system, if a student ask any questions or raise ask any questions to know about the information also, if the teacher can provide them the timely response, then it can encourage the students widely. And also if time management is very important, and if the synchronous and asynchronous classes held in timely way, then the students get maximum encouragement. And evaluation in online classes, it is also very important. Formative evaluation, summative evaluation, both can be possible in the online learning management system. So if we can arrange regular formative assessments and give the students information about how they did in their examination, in their assessments, and how they got the score. If they are well informed before their summative evaluation, they would be informed about, and also they can try for their maximum output in the evaluation, in the summative assessment. And it's very important for the students to be learned and also to get very good score to compete with the present world. So the teacher's presence in online education, the teacher's presence is possible both in the synchronous and asynchronous classes, but social presence of the students, that not required, but the visibility and accessibility of the contents and resources, that is also possible. And constructive work with regular feedbacks, that is also possible with the teachers can very easily take the feedbacks from the students, whatever it is, by a mail, or having the WhatsApp a group, or having the Google sites. So if any teacher develop a site for the individual courses, then all the ways of regular communication can be possible there. So students' engagement in the classroom and also outside of the classroom during the student visiting hour. And yes, student visiting hour is also possible if you share the calendar with the students. Then a student can very easily see the free and busy time of the teacher, and also very easily can set a meeting with the teacher with specific slot of time. So teachers' presence in the classroom and outside of the classroom, it is also possible. So content management, in the learning management system, we can share the course structure, entire curriculum, entire syllabus, and also we can share the videos of our previous lectures, so student can very easily get access to that content, and also they can share their views also. And assessment is also possible in the in the learning management system. In terms of communication, student can easily talk to the teacher, and also to the management, and also with the admission office, with the university. Communication is very easy in the online management system. So the entire integration of university, if we think about the content and technology, so now we come to the structure of the entire university. Then how university integrate with. So university integrate with the technology, the learning management system, and different sort of tools, and also with the course platforms. And they have to collaborate with the specific people, like the content experts, subject experts, and for the online education, for the maximum interaction with the students, we have to develop some photos and animations. So university has to collaborate with those photo builders and animators, and the typists, and website development specialists, and video content editors. So collaboration is very important with the specific collaborators. For the pedagogy, student have to, the university has to engage with the learners, prospective learners, and also the existing learners. So as well as university has to make a cozy environment for the students, so that the student can learn well. And university has to develop student-centric support services. So university has to integrate the environment and prospective learners and the expectation of the prospective learners and also the expectation of the existing learners. University has to integrate the course structure with the text and images, videos, animators, course and the course materials, textbooks that can be transformed into OER as OER repository. So university has to manage all sort of resources. University have to provide the students, and university has to integrate with the teachers. And has to provide the trainings to the teachers, and also have to limit the workloads of the teachers, and and the support services that should be provided to the teachers. And there are some administrative roles, especially relating to the admissions and support services. And university has to integrate the assessment system and evaluation system, a regular feedback with the students, and recognition of the students, and having accreditation of the programs, and also certify the students. So this is the policy approach of the university to integrate this structure among the entire structure, the technology, collaboration, and teachers and administration, and also with the assessment arrangements and also course arrangement. So the policy should be developed to integrate all sort of integrating all sort of arrangements and also divisions. So the policy that should be developed by the institution, that should be participation with the all stakeholders relating to the technology, and also the course materials, and there should have some representatives from the teachers, and also the participation with the administrative personals, and also the representative from the students. So no policies should be developed with the top-down process, but also bottom-up process, so that the expectations of the students, teachers, administrators, all these are respected, all these are reflected to the policy. So one national policy is very important for the policy entire online learning management system, because at first we have to develop the mindset of the students, and also develop the mindset of the citizens, so that they easily accept the online learner certificates, and also they can understand that yes, in the online classroom they are also learning things that that students learn in the physical classrooms. So the national policy is very important, so that the nation provide the institutions to provide the supports to the different structure that I have just said before. The integration would be possible if university integration would be possible if university get maximum support from the country. So if there is a regulatory authority in the country, then the regulatory authority that should also be comfortably working with the institution, and also should make a bridge with the national policy. The nation should have such a policy to fund the university, and also to afford the logistical supports to the institution, and also regulatory authority that should come up with the accreditations, and also logistical supports for the institution, so that institution can integrate all the branches and divisions, including the teachers and also the collaborators. So to quest for a policy on online learning, the national policy is must, and also should have institutional policies so that university can provide the a maximum support services for the students, and also making efficient and skillful of the teachers by providing them the trainings, and also the admission division, and also making the information available and contents are easily accessible to all the students. So, what the national policy may cover the vision and planning of the country, like what are the goal of the country with online education, like 10 years, 20 years, after 50 years, what is going to be happen, and also envisioning the future of the country, how the students would get involved with the online education, and also how it would be accredited, and also how the students would be assessed and evaluated, and also would be certified, and what would be their future in the employment sector. So making the employment sector also cozy for the online students, and also the national policy should include the IT infrastructure. For example, if the devices and ICT tools are not affordable by the citizens, then it should be easily affordable for the students and also the teachers, and the infrastructure with the online, like internet, and also with the tools that should be developed, so that the students from the remote corner, they can also join with the online education. And skills and competencies of the every teachers, every administrators, and also the students to get used to the tools and technologies should be developed by the institution. So the institution should share the learning resources to the students, and also prepare an electronic management information system for the students, and the country can monitor and evaluate the institution, and the institution can evaluate and monitor the roles of the administrators and also the teachers. So that all should have a policy. Within the policy, the institution and also the country can monitor and evaluate the entire jobs, and the country can ensure the equity, inclusion, and safety programs within the policy. How the equitable access of the students and also the teachers, different sort of background students and teachers can get involved with the open and online education, that the nation can think about, and also the inclusion of every sphere of life, every sphere of people, that should also be included in the policy. So it's all about the policy, what the nation and also the institution can prepare with, so that the students, teachers, and administrators, all the stakeholders, can easily get the resources of open and distance education, management. So the quest for a policy approach, for the e-learning resources for the engagement, for the encouragement, for the evaluation. Every way the institution should have a policy, and to make online university more efficient and more productive and more future oriented, future centric, and also developmental, the nation should have a policy. So that's all about from my part, and thank you so very much for for having the lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fakhrul, on that insightful presentation. Now the floor is open for a discussion, which will be moderated by Shalini Rajasingham, a lecturer attached to the Center for Educational Technology and Media at the Open University of Sri Lanka. Mr. Fakhrul and Shalini, over to you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Fakhrul, especially when we are considering like new initiatives to expand our university. Mr. Fakhrul, like one of the focus of your areas is student engagement. Can you please like explain in your own words as to what student engagement is and why it is important for the student to be engaged? It could be with respect to a course or classroom, anything.
Thank you so much for such an interesting question. Students' engagement is very important in the learning process of students, and if the students are alienated from the course, from the teachers, students actually cannot learn. So to learn something, students have to involve with the courses, syllabus, curriculum, also with the teacher, and also with the university. So the engagement is very important, number one. And the second one is, if we would like to engage the students, we first be familiar with the students. I mean, I'm talking about the role of the teacher. Then the teacher should be quite informed about the demography of the students, what the student is, and where he's come from, and his background is, and what the context is, and also the demography of the students, how. I mean, if the student face particular problems, then they can be very easily alienated from the class. So if the teacher is aware about that particular context of the students, then the teacher can make a cozy environment for the students so that the students can be engaged with the classes. And also making the content in such a way which is very much relevant with the students, and also setting the examples of the classroom so that the students can very easily understand the phenomenon and also the content. If the teacher set the examples, that the examples are quite familiar with the students previously, then they can also be engaged with the classroom. And also in online classes, the teachers can use some tools like Mentimeter and Kahoot, and many other tools and technologies are available, even that can be associated with the Zoom and Google Meet. So the teachers can use those engaging tools and technologies, and also making the setting the familiar examples with the students, and also making the course very much appropriate to them. I mean, if the teacher know about the objective of the student, also objective of the curriculum, then they can make the students engaged with the content and also the curriculum. So if the objective of the student and objective of the curriculum that is known by the teacher, and if the teacher can make a bridge between the students' objectives and the curriculum objectives, then it would be quite engaging.
Okay, so how about with respect to a strategy, or rather a policy? Like, for example, if we do want to expand or rather improve with respect to student engagement, since you're very thorough with the policies and strategies, how would we as a university try to implement as a policy so that it's kind of universal and people can get involved in it very easily? Can you elaborate on the strategic part as to how we can
For the engagement, if in institutional role you are talking about, right? So institution can play a vital role for students' engagement with the university. First, giving them the supporting services first. So if you just think about the prospective students, how they are thinking about the university. So if they get the information about the admission and course curriculum, and also the learning management system beforehand the entering to the university, so they would be quite aware about the university, right? So institution should provide the information before they're entering, students entering to the university. So it's one of the important thing to provide maximum policy for the students, support services for the prospective students. When for the existing students, the institution should have policies to make the support services easily accessible, making the resources easily accessible, and making the content very much related to the industry and their job sector, and also very much related to their personal objectives of life, how they think and what they really want to learn. So if the students make such policies that should be the objective of the curriculum, that should be, if university provides that sort of guideline, that would be quite engaging for the students, because the students will see that this is my objective and this is the university objective. That would be the sort of engaging policy. And also university should provide the trainings for the teachers, so that they can make the classroom more engaging and more interactive, right? So how it is role of the university. So university should construct such policies for teachers and staff's development, so that the teachers can be skilled and equipped. So these are all the institutional roles and policy frameworks that an institution can construct.
So in the beginning of your presentation, you did mention how it is, rather challenging for women to get into, or rather, get an opportunity with respect to education. So are there any strategies or anything like, even under progress at your university, or anything of that sort that can encourage women to be a little bit more, be exposed to this kind of a...
Exactly. The involvement and inclusion of the women, not only women in Bangladesh, to some extent, women are underprivileged and deprived from sort of rights and access. Not only for women, but also those who are underprivileged, those who are even cornered, and those who do not have the opportunities of education. They can be provided with education, having the policies from not only from the institution, but also in the national policies. So if we keep some special provisions for the underprivileged people, like those who are handicapped, like alternatively able, those who are underprivileged even financially. So university can keep some special provisions for their inclusion, giving them the waiver in the fees, admission fees, and also tuition fees, and also university can arrange some stipends for the students, and also university can afford some merit-based scholarships and need-based scholarships at the same time.
So with respect to women, like how do you reach such women who are not being able to get that sort of education? How will you reach those community?
Yes, that was just, I was talking about that, if it is women, not only women, but also that I have seen. So for the women also it is applicable, then women can be provided with special provisions with the scholarships, and also with the access, and also with the device, and so that they can easily afford the device, and also can take loan devices from the university. So university can take provide special provisions for the
So
females.
it's more into financial kind of a support, right? Or anything other than
Anything
the
else,
financial,
of
like
course.
expect for the scholarship, anything else, or is it just the financial support that we provide the women?
I mean, when you are giving, support, it's not only financial but also regular encouragement of the females, and also their involvement. If you involve the women in the university with from the students' part and also from the teachers' part, and in the administration. So if their access to the university is ensured, we have to make some policies so that their access is very easy to the university.
Okay. So again, like one of your research areas, or rather your focus is equity, inclusion, and safety. So could you rather explain in your own words what they are, and with respect to, again, with respect to an institution, like what are the policies, like specific policies that we could, as an institute, incorporate in our existing, or maybe we have already done it and we are not aware. So can you please elaborate on those?
Again, you were talking about the inclusion and also
and that includes equity, inclusion, and safety as well.
Yeah. So in online education, for example, if we think about the safety, also in Bangladesh and in some South Asian nations, the safety of the women is a token agenda also. So so if we would like to ensure the safety, then physically, when they would like to join in a physical classroom, so they have to travel a distance. So the safety is an important issue. And also in the online system, there are also the safety issue with the technologies, right? So university and also national policy should cover the safety issues and harassment issues and also anti-harassment policies that should be incorporated by the institution and also the nation. And for the equity and inclusion, what I have said, that special provisions should be made for the underprivileged and also those who are not now having the equal access to the education. For them, the university and also the nation can make policies.
So while reading your profile, I was actually curious that you were working in close with the KDI as a policy researcher. So can you elaborate on your role with respect to a policy researcher?
I am just entering there, and also I can't now talk about the KDI policy issues. Yeah.
So that will be it. Thank you very much for your answers, and it was a very it created a lot of awareness with respect to the policies and what we as a university can do in with respect to safety, inclusion, and equity. Thank you very much, Mr. Fakhrul.
Yeah, thank you so much.